joined by two very special guests. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, are here. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
So we've got quite a lot of questions to sort of get through. We've got some from fans and some of our own, so we might as well we'll start things off with a simple, light-hearted question from your good friend TJ Perkins. He wants to know. He says, "What did they have for breakfast? Also, what did I have for breakfast?"
Man, go ahead, Nick. You want to start this one off? This is a tough one. So if you want
to. Well, oh man, I didn't have anything.
Really? That's terrible.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have the most important meal of the day. No, I
didn't eat anything.
I'm a big coffee guy, so I had 2 giant cups of coffee, and then I had Honey Nut Cheerios, which is not very. I mean, it's not really the protein that I need, but it's okay calorie-wise. That's about it. I was up all night with my daughter again, so that's pretty much all I do is drink coffee at this point in my life.
Do any of you know what he had for breakfast?
I'm sure it was probably something like a hard-boiled egg, but only the whites. You can't eat the actual good part. He's probably just eating the crappiest part. What else, Nick? We've been on the road with that guy, and he's crazy.
Tuna.
Packets of tuna. Yeah, packets of tuna right out of the package from the fork. It's probably something disgusting like that he had for breakfast. I'm sure I'm pretty accurate with that. Well,
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I might have to ask him and see how accurate you were. So now we'll move on to sort of talk about. We'll start with the beginning of your current Ring of Honor run, the latest one. You signed a 1-year deal last October, but for some reason you signed a 1-year deal around the same time as TJ Perkins. But there was no announcement about your sort of contract being signed. There was nothing on the website or Twitter. Do you know sort of why? Was there any sort of why the secrecy, basically?
Oh man, good question. We have no clue because we thought at that point we were that was the hottest we've been in our career. So we thought that we could have created some buzz knowing that we just signed a contract with them because we were just at a tryout with WWE a week prior before actually signing a contract. So I thought it would have created a lot of buzz for the company, but we don't control any of that. So we had no clue why they didn't announce it, but hey, what can you do, right?
It was really weird. It really was.
Very strange.
We had known we were going to go back to Ring of Honor for quite some time. We were unhappy at TNA, obviously, and we did that New York shot where we worked Adam and Kyle for the first time. And at that point, everybody, I mean, Hunter and Kerry at the time, Kerry wasn't really with the company, but he was still going to the shows a lot, and he was influential, I think. I don't think so much anymore. But Hunter and Cornette especially, they came up to us and they just said, "Listen, guys, we know you're under a deal, but, if you guys ever get out of your deal or when it expires, we want you guys so bad." Like we had a 20-minute, 30-minute talk about this, about how bad they want us, and we were unhappy. So, of course, we were like, wow, these guys are really interested in us. It was a really cool atmosphere there in New York, so that kind of was a really good selling point. And it was just, we felt like it was time to, do something new and go back there, and they, not to mention they also, they said that we'd probably be doing at least 6, maybe 8 shows a month with Ring of Honor. So, man, the whole thing looked really pretty because at the time, TNA, we just weren't making enough money. And, the reason we left, we were like, man, we want to make more money. Let's go here, So we were really, really optimistic about the whole thing. And then right away, they didn't announce that we signed. So we were just like, okay, maybe they'll announce it next month. Well, maybe they'll announce it a month later. And then they just never announced it. I think it was just one of those things that slipped through the cracks. And like Nick said, it was a really hot point for us. Like there was a lot, we had a lot of buzz. And unfortunately, they didn't capitalize on that. We were planning on cutting a big promo about how we quit TNA and we declined an offer from WWE and we chose Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor is the best. It's the best company in the world. We thought that'd be awesome, and it didn't go that way, as everybody knows. But yeah, that whole situation was really weird. And to this day, we don't know why they never announced it. It was weird.
Before you actually signed your contract, you wrestled at Death Before Dishonor 9. I think it was a 3-way tag match. Did Ring of Honor push you to sign a contract, or was it always the plan that you were going to sign?
It was known. Like when we even went to WWE, we told the entire office, don't worry, we're just going here to get some buzz, and we just wanted to hang out and see some friends. We're signing with you guys. So they already knew we were with them. That was the plan. It was, since the time we went to New York, we wrestled Adam and Kyle, we knew we were signing with them. It was just a matter of time.
When you first were signed, what was the initial plan creative-wise? Was anything sort of laid out for you?
Go ahead, Nick.
Probably the deal with all the handshaking and whatnot. That was really what was planned to do, was just it did happen, but we were just gonna pretty much roll with what happened with the Booker T incident and see what happened. See what would happen after that. But there wasn't really like a distinct plan with it, but it was just to play off of what happened with Booker T and whatnot. So there really wasn't a game plan, so to speak. But we
knew we were coming in as bad guys. That's about it. Like, we knew right away we were going to be bad guys. I think that's all we really had. Like Nixon and the handshake.
Yeah.
We're going to see where it went, I guess.
You'd assume that, they signed you for a year, so they must have had some idea of what they wanted to do with you in some way, but perhaps they just didn't relay that to you. Who knows? But
maybe, man. I don't know. Wrestling's a strange thing. Sometimes a lot of these guys have it planned out. Sometimes it's really organic, and you just roll the punches, you see who gets over, you listen to the audience. I don't know. A lot of wrestlers, it's funny. In every company I've ever worked for, the wrestlers are the ones left in the dark more than anybody. Like, we don't know anything really most of the time. And I don't know if that's because of social media and they think we're going to spoil things. They just don't. A lot of wrestling companies don't like to give out any type of information. They just don't leak it anymore. They're just really secretive about it, I guess. Like, or unless me and Nick are just like the only idiots that don't get told anything. Everybody else knows everything. Yeah, but we never really know anything.
When you did sign your contract, Ring of Honor had just started their new TV show on SBG. Was this sort of a big factor in your decision to sign? The prospect of being on TV possibly every week?
No, I wouldn't say so. Yeah, I wouldn't say that was a factor. The main factor was we were sold on wrestling 6 to 8 shows a month with a company that we've always wanted to work for, and that's pretty much what sold us on it, because we were promised we'd be wrestling a lot more than what we were doing on our TNA schedule, which pretty much turned out not to be true. But the TV wasn't really the factor, I would say.
Yeah, like, we had just been on Spike TV every Thursday, or, I mean, not every Thursday, but every other Thursday or whatever. And, being on TV doesn't really mean anything to us anymore. I mean, it's exposure. Exposure's exposure. At this point, I think everybody knows who we are, so I don't think it's about that anymore. It's about just building our brand. But most importantly, Nick and I, like, we were just starving, We wanted to find a better place to work. I wanted to make more money. This is a job. We want to make money, and that was basically I would say 97% of the reason why we left TNA is because we just felt like we were at home starving, and we were promised to have a better life elsewhere, and maybe work with our friends, our buddies. These are our this is the place that I don't want to call home, because ROH has never really been our home, but it's a place that we have a lot of friends. We had a past. And hey, we could work 6 to 8 shows a month. That's a lot of money, So it just came down to feeding our families, and that sounded like the best thing to do. And at the time, we were really psyched about it. And unfortunately, that's just not what happened. And now it just seems like there's just no shows anymore. There's just no shows. You look at their calendar, and it's just it's kind of sad, like, because they used to run more when Kerry owned the whole thing. So not only do they, not go for more shows, they went to less shows. So it's just, the whole thing's just gotten and I don't know what's going on with that. It's got to be a money thing, but it's sad to see that. It really is.
I mean, going back to TV, I mean, how do you think you guys were portrayed on TV?
A little bit.
How were we portrayed on TV? Like, I don't even know if we were on enough. If we're talking about the SBG show, I don't know if we were on enough to ever really show anything other than having cool matches, which is fine, because that's what I like to do. I don't think we were ever in any detailed storyline or anything like that, or a big angle. It was just like, hey, we need a good match. Put the Bucks in there, because we have good matches, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you want to add to that, Nick?
This is what I was actually talking to Matt, 2 days ago about this, and I think our second run with Ring of Honor was pretty much, hey, let's book the Bucks as pretty much of just a special appearance type wrestlers. Like, we weren't given like a storyline, like a main purpose for a storyline or anything. We were pretty much a special attraction for the shows that they would bring us on, which that's how I felt, which was pretty disappointing.
But at the same time, for me, it's like, hey man, book me whatever way you want to book me. If you want to be the guy that has cool matches and puts other guys over, I don't care, as long as I'm on every show, because I'm in this for the money. I want to make money. It's like, I don't even care about all that stuff. A lot of the wrestlers, well, I want to be in a big angle, I want to do this. I just want to be on the show. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm not on the show anymore, there's the problem.
We weren't. That's why I say we were a special attraction, because we weren't on all the shows. We were literally a special attraction.
I mean, how much input did you personally have on your character and your promos?
Oh, no, we had pretty much 100%, and which is why that's one thing I have to give credit to about them is, well, in the beginning it was a little weird. We first came in, and Jim Cornette, real old school, he'd have everything written literally like on a piece of paper, handwritten. You could barely read it, and he had lines that he wanted us to read verbatim. And I'm not kidding you. Like, some of these lines, I thought they were ribbing me, because like they were written straight out of the 70s. And like, I just was like, there's no way this is real, right? This is a rib. And so I would do my best to like try to make him happy and say his lines that I didn't think were very funny at all. I don't think anybody did except Jim. And then finally towards the end, we just got so comfortable in our roles, we pretty much just winged a lot of those promos. And I think I'd like to say we got most comfortable when we started talking about the Briscoes, because we started impersonating Mark, and we started doing it in a way where we were acting like them, and it was cracking up all the boys. And Nick would act like Jay, and I'd act like Mark, like I didn't have teeth, and we do their funny accents. And once we started doing that and being funny, that's just when it started feeling more natural and more fun, And then from there, we started making fun of Rhett. He couldn't walk, and we were just being goofy. Like, and we realized, man, you know what? Not a lot of guys are silly anymore in wrestling, especially in Ring of Honor. It's such a serious tone. So let's be funny. Let's be silly. So we started doing the air guitar and acting like rock stars and acting goofy and, calling people mother effers, because we can't say the real word. We're these Christian boys. We're not allowed to say it. It's like, we just started having a lot of fun. And I have to say that once we started, doing that and being who we really are in real life, I was having a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun I had in wrestling.
I mean, what was the balance, sort of creatively wise, between Jim Cornette and Delirious? I know a lot of fans have been sort of guessing who had the major sort of say. I mean, was it mainly Cornette?
Oh yeah, I would say 80% Cornette, maybe even more than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which I think was, I don't think it was fair for Hunter, because he's supposed to be the head booker, and he really didn't have that much say, to be honest, for what I could see. Would you say so, Matt?
I would say 100%. It was not even 80, 100%. It was all Jim.
Really? Yeah.
And Hunter was kind of there, just designed to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I never really saw him make any decisions, unless there's stuff I don't see. But if you're asking me and you're asking for my honest opinion, I think he did 100% of it. And maybe behind the scenes, maybe there's phone calls that happened or meetings that I don't know about. But as far as what I saw, it was all Jim who pulled everything. And I think that kind of sucks for, like Nick said, that sucks for Hunter, because Hunter was kind of just like pushed out of position, because he was originally the guy. And Nick even called it. I remember when Jim first came in on our first run at the end of '09, I think. Nick was like, "What do you bet Jim's gonna end up being the booker of this place?" Like, you can just tell. Like, even with Adam there, Jim was trying to kind of almost taking over with Adam. So we knew that he was kind of positioning himself, for a job there, and he ended up getting it. And it's just one of those situations now. It's like they're talking about how I've read on the internet that Hunter's now the guy in charge. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's some type of ploy that they're trying to say, because they know that their fan base has turned on them. And maybe if we say that he's not here anymore, people will like us again. And because as long as Jim's there, he's got some say, because that's just the way Jim is. But I mean, but maybe, you know, if this is 100% legit and Hunter is in charge, I think it's only a good thing because he's young, he's youthful. We need someone fresh in there. Not that Jim's ideas weren't good, because a lot of them were. It's just, you know, I think we need something new. Everybody wants something fresh at this point, and I think at this point Hunter is the better man for the job.
I mean, ECW Hardcore 07 on our forum asks thoughts on Jim Cornette. I mean, I know a lot of people have been talking about Cornette. I mean, would you say he's outdated? Would you say his views on what wrestling should be are, sort of out of style now?
Nick?
I like the guy personally. Like, we never had any issues with him. I thought he saw wrestling in an educated way, you know, and he knows what he's talking about, obviously. But I just think today's wrestling is a youthful, young business, and it should be getting away from that. Like, I think younger people should start running more of the majority of the things, because the younger people know more about what today's audience wants, and that's the only thing I see, and the reason why they should have Hunter as the main guy.
Yeah. I think that, you know, it's a visual thing. It's like you see an old guy like Jim running a promotion, and immediately everyone's going to blame everything on Jim because it's outdated, it's old, because he's in charge. He's easy to blame almost. But like, if you put a young guy's face on the company, people relate to that and they go, okay, so a young guy's running, and they give it more of a chance almost. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of it's cosmetics. I really do. Like, if an old guy from the 70s or 80s is doing something and one thing goes wrong, you know, he's gonna get the blame. If it seems outdated or something that someone's already seen before, Jim's an easy scapegoat. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen already. Not that a lot of it wasn't his fault. I'm just saying it makes it easier to point the finger at him. So I think just for political reasons, it's better to get him out of there and have someone else as the face of the company.
I mean, I know you said earlier that you didn't really have sort of any major sort of angles or storylines in your second run. I mean, you had sort of that on and off feud with the All Night Express. I mean, what were your views on that? Were you happy with that, or did you want it to sort of go further? Or
go ahead, Nick.
Oh, on our feud with the All Night Express?
Yeah, so it was a bit on and off, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of on and off, and I liked the feud. I liked the matches we had, but one complaint all four of us had was for the blow-off for the Phoenix shows or not the Phoenix, I think it was Florida. For Florida, we had a street fight, and we were only given 10 minutes for a blow-off street fight to end the feud. And so that was kind of like, how are we supposed to, like, we've been feuding for months at this point, and it's really heated because we injured Rhett and whatnot and all that stuff. And how are we supposed to put that and end it all in a 10-minute little match and put a little gimmick on there with a street fight? It was kind of hard to, but we didn't have any control with that because we're pretty much yes men. It's, hey, yeah, we'll do it because this is what we're given, and we'll try to make the best out of it. But that was my only complaint with the feuds.
I think a reason why it was so up and down was because of Rhett getting hurt, for one thing. That just stopped a lot of it and stopped a lot of the momentum. And not only, like, when the guy was in the ring, even when he was supposedly better, I mean, he could hardly move. Like, his leg was no good. Like, I remember he actually wrestled one match. I don't remember where it was. I think it was one of the house shows, North Carolina, South Carolina shows or something. Where he was already hurt, and I'm not kidding you. The guy, he could not even, like, put weight on his leg. And Nick and I were like, why are you even in the ring, man? Like, and I get it. I mean, this is what we do, and you got to pay your bills. Like, it was bad. Like, it was to the point where, like, we didn't even think we were going to be able to do anything with him physically. He was just so heavy on there. He's so hurt. So that kind of screwed up, you know, one of our matches because he was so injured. And then even when he came back, like, I think he came back a little too early. He still couldn't really move like he used to, you know. I just think he was pushing it. And I mean, I would do the same thing because, you know, we got to pay our bills, you know. This is what we do to pay our bills. But that was one factor, was definitely Rhett not being 100% during our angle. But I mean, I mean, without even like thinking about all that stuff, if I go back and watch the matches, I would still say I was really happy with them. You know, we had really good matches with those guys.
I mean, before the matches you had at the Fort Lauderdale, wasn't it? You had your title match against the Briscoes at the 10th anniversary show.
Right.
I mean, from a fan's perspective, I think the match just seemed to come off as a bit too one-sided. I think for a title match, was that something that you thought, or was that just sort of a fan's perspective thing?
I think that happens a lot when we wrestle the Briscoe brothers, because they're so intense and so big that I think it for one reason I think it looks better when they're beating us up instead of us beating them, because it looks more realistic and whatnot. But to your point, I think you're right that it was too one-sided, and we were pretty much that night we felt like the fans would have not bought the match anyway. So I think for a reason you think that was because no one in the world thought we were winning the belts that night, because the match was set up literally like 2 weeks beforehand with no feud at all, and we had no push going into the match. So it was booked to fail pretty much. We said that right away that's why the match didn't really seem to come off good, because no one believed we were going to win the belts. And I guess I don't know, that would you say
I think that I think the whole one-sidedness might be us to blame, because I mean we had a lot of freedom to wrestle in our matches. Like we didn't have agents breathing down our necks in Ring of Honor. So if it did seem a bit one-sided, it might have been all four of our faults for planning it that way or letting it happen that way. Because I know we've had good matches with the Briscoes also, like where they weren't one-sided and it did look legit, because we planned it a certain way where we took one of them out and it was 2-on-1 or something like. There's probably certain things we could have done to make it better, and I still liked the match. But going back, I actually agree. I think that it was a bit one-sided and it never looked like we were going to win. But but I think we've had much better matches with the Briscoes. I mean, just offhand, I know even in Ring of Honor, like I think we had one in Chicago I really liked, and then we had a really good one on at PWG, I think back in 08 or 09 that I really liked. So, I mean, it's not to blame like the four talents involved, or it is to blame for the four talents involved, I think, because we had a lot of say in that, and that's just the way the match ended up coming out.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, fast forwarding a bit now, after the Florida double shot, you were given a summer hiatus along with TJ Perkins. I mean, how did you find out about the plan for the hiatus, and what did Ring of Honor sort of give us as a reason for this?
This was kind of bad, the way it was handled. It actually was happening before our eyes. Like we were at some indie show, I think, for Amazing Reds company in New York, and I got a text message from TJ, and TJ said, "I just got notice that I'm getting taken off the entire summer." So immediately I think, "Oh my gosh, well that's not good. Hopefully we're not in the same boat, because we're all kind of like we're the same guys. We all travel together. We go on the same flights."
Yeah.
So I let Nick know. I said, "Well, this is what's going on with TJ, and he's not too thrilled about it, and so we're like, well, let's get to the bottom of this." So we sent some emails, and never really heard anything. They weren't the greatest about getting back to us. That's one complaint I have with all those guys, specifically with Hunter and Cornette. They just were not good at returning emails. We were kind of in the dark. Finally, I want to say we were down to the wire. Like we knew we were doing a show in Canada. But I don't think we had one confirmed date after that. We just had kind of like, here's some dates, keep these open type of thing. Like, but we weren't really confirmed for them all. So I think we were taking off to Canada, and we got an email finally, and he said, "Listen, we need to talk with you either today during I don't know if we had pre-tapes or something, or maybe at the hotel, or tomorrow at the show." And we said, "Okay, this doesn't sound good, because he's not guaranteeing this for any shows." So anyway, we finally met up with him at that show before the actual iPay-per-view, and it was just Jim, or not Jim, it was just Hunter, because Jim wasn't in Canada, and he finally just sat down and told us, "Listen, guys, any guys coming out of California, we have to take them off the road for 3 months. It's just budgets, and he's like, well, we're going to have you guys back in August, and we'll work from there. And we were really disappointed because like we had no shows booked because we were hoping to be on the whole Ring of Honor schedule. So
yeah.
we were upset because we were just like, what are we going to do? And,
we were promised that we'd be back full time though after August happened. Yeah.
Right.
That must be frustrating from your point of view, where Ring of Honor are telling you to keep these dates open, and presumably you're sort of turning down bookings that you could have had, and then they come out of the blue and say, actually, for the next 3 months, you haven't got anything.
Exactly. That's what was tough, and we understand business is business. This is show business that we're in, but at least have a little communication with us. Let us know, a little ahead of time. That way we can go get booked. Because Nick and I were really good at getting booked in the Indies. Like we have a full schedule right now, and we can make it happen. But if you don't give us the proper time to do it, then we're kind of going to be stuck at home not doing anything, and that's why we were upset.
Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it hurt financially during the whole summer because we literally only had a few bookings that whole summer because we were expecting to be on at least a few of the Ring of Honor dates, and which obviously didn't happen.
Mm.
So it hurt us, man, because we had jobs already, and then we left those jobs for better jobs, and then it ended up being worse because here we are not working at all now, at all. Like at least in TNA we were getting booked for a few shows at least, like a couple house shows here and there. So like Nick and I were just really upset. Like what did we do? Hopefully, and then it got to the point where we hadn't heard from them all summer. And we thought, are we even coming back in August? Like, what's going on? Because we had no communication. And we knew our contracts were up in October anyway. So we felt like, are they just going to sit us at home, before our contracts go up in October? And we didn't know for sure. So finally, that whole Kenny King thing happened on Impact. And we got an email that night. Literally within, what would you say, an hour, Nick, from Kenny doing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they said, we need you guys for the TV in August, and then we also have other dates, or not in August, or was it August? Yeah, I think it was the first week of August.
Yeah.
In Baltimore, and we're also gonna have to confirm you guys for some other shows. So me and Nick are kind of just smirking, like, oh, okay, yeah, But then again, they did say they were gonna bring us back in August, so I don't, okay, like maybe they're just being truthful to their word, whatever. Nick and I, at this point, we're just trying to be optimistic, because we're really in a bad position here. We have these deals that are about to expire. We're sitting at home anyway. Like, what are we going to say no to him? We're not going to do your show. We're starving. So we come to TV. We do the show in Baltimore, and finally we staged a meeting for
the tournament.
For the tournament, we staged a meeting with Jim and Hunter, and we just said, listen, guys, like, are we back? What's going on here? Like, we just want to know what's going on. Like, I want to be able to tell my wife, hey, I got these shows, and we're going to be okay. And that's when they said, listen, we really, it's tough. We're dying here, and we don't really have the money to spend on these flights, and we could book you guys sparingly, and then we, Nick and I are just kind of chuckling because we're like, do these guys not realize our contracts are up like next month? Like. So we decided to play it safe and just kind of be quiet about it, and just do the show and do our best like we always do, and we'll go from there. So we do the show, and that's actually the last time I think we've talked to them.
The writing was on the wall because we were doing the tournament, and we noticed we thought we were going to win the belts. That we were pretty sure. We were like 99% sure that we would win, and we found out we were losing the first match in the first round of the tournament. We knew that definitely was the writing on the wall for them to end the relationship with us.
Right. They didn't really go out and say that openly, but I think it's just honestly, man, it came down to
it's only opposite.
Me and Nick negotiated pretty good contracts, I have to say. We had, well, not pretty good contracts, like saying we're sitting at home for 3 months, but like when we did wrestle, we made good money. Like, so I think that, it's expensive to book us. You're going to fly us in. I don't care what people say, though. These flights aren't $1 million because I help other promoters get them, and they're not that expensive. They're not more expensive than you would think. You know what I mean? Like, it's reasonable. It's just they bought the most expensive flights for one thing. But our flights aren't $1 million, man. Like, but Nick and I do make pretty good money. If you're going to book us for 1 or 2 shows, it's going to cost you. But we feel like you're going to get what you pay for. We try to put on our best matches, and we feel like we're worth it. And maybe they just felt like, it was too expensive, and that was the end of it. And we didn't really say a word about our deals expiring, and we just decided we were just going to let them expire. And if they would, talk to us or send us an email or call us, they would. And they never did.
And
so I think they
never did. Nothing.
They let us walk, and that's fine, man.
That's one thing that.
Go ahead.
That's one disappointment that I've had with the company was we left TNA to come here, and we felt like we worked very hard for Ring of Honor when we were booked, and for our year to come up and no one even thanks us with an email or even say, hey, thanks guys for coming here and quitting TNA to come here to try to make our product better. We didn't receive anything, which was kind of very disappointing to me. It was kind of heartbreaking.
I think it's more disappointing to us because these guys are our friends. It's
yeah, exactly.
I don't want to sound like this big pansy guy, like, oh, these guys are supposed to be our buddies, because I know this is wrestling is wrestling, business is business. I don't feel like they did good business with us, and we've been really tight-lipped about it, and this is really the first time we've ever even opened up about it, and we don't even have any hard feelings about the whole thing, man. It's like we just know what it's like now. We've been doing this for about 10 years now, and these things happen, and I want the company to succeed. I really do, because professional wrestling needs Ring of Honor. We need a company like that. The fans need a company like that. All my friends are there. Kevin Steen and Jay Leith are two of my best friends in professional wrestling. And I want to see them do well. And I mean, that's just two of the guys on the roster that we're buddies with. Adam Cole, Kyle, I love those guys.
Yeah.
So, we really want to see them do well. And if they even, offered for us to come in and do a shot or two, we would do it. We're just not, we would never ever sign a contract with them ever again, because that would just be stupid business. But if they offered us to come in for some shows, of course we're going to do it, because we want to make money. It's just. I think having guys sign contracts to wrestle once a month is ridiculous anyways, by the way. That's why I was fine with them. But yeah, man, there's no hard feelings. Go ahead, Nick. I don't know if you're
and that's why. Well, yeah, and I was just going to say that's why PWG doesn't have people under contracts, because it's pretty much the same thing. They run once a month. Why keep someone handed down with a contract for a show that you only run once a month? It doesn't make sense to me anymore. It's like, just let these wrestlers have some type of freedom, a lot of these companies are making people sign contracts. Like, why?
Yeah.
For one show a month, it doesn't make sense. You're only hurting us more than you're doing anything, because we need to work and we need to make money for our living.
I mean, do you think part of the reason why Ring of Honor let you walk is because maybe they're in a worse financial sort of situation than people maybe think?
Sure. I mean, that's fair to say. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what their budget with SBG gives them. Yeah, I don't know any of that stuff. But if they can't afford to pay us, and we're not making $1 million, if they can't afford to pay us, then it goes to show you it's very telling that there are financial problems. And they've told us that they've told us, listen, guys, we're bleeding money. And we can't afford these flights. And what do you say to that? You say, okay, sorry, I'm sorry I live where I live. It sucks. It's a problem that I don't know how big the problem is, though. I'm not in those meetings, man. I couldn't tell you.
It's a problem, though. Yeah, it's a problem, though, for sure.
Sure, of course.
So when you came back from hiatus, they literally there was just nothing. You just did that one match in the tournament, and that was it. You just didn't hear from them at all again.
That was it. Literally, the talk we had with them that night was the last time we've spoken to anybody from Ring of Honor.
Yep.
Wow.
That was it.
That is. I actually had a question written down here that was, do you regret signing? But I think that's quite an obvious question by what you've been saying at this point.
Yeah, I mean, see, this whole thing would have been different if we would have just been doing shows, per appearance on just a handshake, because that's no big deal. You didn't betray me or do anything to me. You just didn't book me anymore. But when we have an agreement for a year, come on, man, stay true to your word, and we don't feel like they really did that. So yeah, of course. I mean, of course we regret signing, but.
And the thing is, they realize it too. That they apologized to us that last day we talked to them about it.
Yeah.
They're sorry they had us come there because they know what happened. They're
Right.
smart, you know.
That's one thing I'll give credit to both Jim and Hunter. They did, like Nick said, they did apologize, and they felt really bad about the whole thing. Unfortunately, feeling bad doesn't really help my financial situation, but they did feel bad, and and these, like I said a million times, now those things happen. So.
So what's your plan now? Post Ring of Honor, your contract's up. You're essentially just sort of free agents. What's your plan?
Yeah, pretty much to wrestle wherever we want and without any restrictions, and just to have fun and pretty much freelance until things slow down, and then maybe we'll have to go settle up and sign a contract somewhere.
Right. Yeah, like I don't think we're in any hurry to put pen to paper right now anywhere, because we're just having fun, man. Like I have to say, despite everything that happened at the end, like the 6 months or 8 months or however long we did work with Ring of Honor was so much fun, man. Like we got to travel with our buddies, and we're always having fun matches, and not even just Ring of Honor. Just we've been doing indies, for over a year now, again full time. It's just been so much fun. There's no pressure. Nick and I have grown so much as professional wrestlers. We feel like this has probably been. I think we get it the most right now. Like we found our niche, we found our act. And I think leaving TNA and it all happened for a reason, because we're just becoming better workers, we're more comfortable in our own skin now when we're out there. So this has just been a good thing, and we just want to freelance and have fun and do indies. And right now it's paying the bills. And if I don't want to do a wrestling show on my wedding anniversary, I won't do it. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
Nick doesn't want to wrestle on his wife's birthday, he doesn't do it, because we control our own destiny now, and we're having a lot of fun. And I think ultimately it would be nice to go back to TNA eventually. We're in no rush, but it seems like it's gotten better there, and I've heard that the contracts are a lot better now, and I see ourselves maybe being back in Orlando eventually. I couldn't tell you when. I don't know. Maybe that never happens again, or I don't know. We're trying to get back to Japan, maybe work there a little bit. But right now, man, the goal is really just to keep producing fun matches that people like and to make money.
We've got a few more fan questions here. Hellfont93 asks, do you have any favourite matches or moments during your time with ROH?
Man, go ahead, Nick. Do you have anything in mind?
Man, I'm trying to think.
I really liked all of our stuff with Adam and Kyle, and then
yeah.
One match that kind of people, I don't know if people just didn't get to see, was we had a really fun one with the Bravados in Chicago that I really liked.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
just a lot of fun stuff.
Off the top of the head, though, like everything we had there in our second run wasn't bad. It was always a fun match. So we liked everything we produced there, but I'm trying to think of what just was mind blowing, which I don't think there was, because we didn't really get the shot to go mind blowing and have a 5-star match there. We didn't really have the shot to do that. So
yeah, I don't think we really had the opportunity. Like they never gave us the okay to go out for 30 minutes and have a PWG style match.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever really got that opportunity. But a lot of the stuff I liked in Ring of Honor, I have to say, was our character development with our promos we did on the video wires, and people still come up to me to this day at shows. They're like, "Oh, thank you so much for the house," because for a while Nick and I were saying, "You're welcome for the house." We drew these people. I thought that was fun. The whole rock star thing, like us just calling ourselves rock stars, goofy and playing air guitar. That was all. I think that was all born at Ring of Honor, and now we use it everywhere. So, just nothing in particular. I think just a lot of little moments, helped us become better.
Yeah, exactly.
We owe a lot of that to our time here at ROH, or there at ROH.
John, who's actually one of our guys over at ROH World, asks, what was the main difference between your first and second ROH runs?
I would say the first one, we were trying to make a name for ourselves, and so we did a lot of different things to see what would stick and what the fans would like and whatnot. And the second one was a lot of character development, so learning a lot about keeping a character going and whatnot, and getting it going. And so it was either the first one, we didn't really have a character, much just matches. It was just us wrestling, you know what I mean? And this time around, we actually had a character and something to work with. So I think those were the biggest differences between.
You know, another one was the first time around we were making peanuts, like no money at all, and it was breaking our bodies and we were getting burnt out. And the second time was more about business because we were making money. So obviously you naturally feel better when you're gaining something, like cash at the end of the thing. But as far as fun goes, man, I had fun both times. I think a lot of our stuff on the second round was better, just because we were better at the time. But a lot of cool stuff happened the first round too. But I think it was cut short because we left for TNA. Like I want to say we were only there for maybe less than a year, and then we were gone. So we never really got to get going there. Both rounds actually there, both times there. We never really got to really get going. It was always cut short.
Yeah, that's too bad.
BTW10 asks, what's your thoughts on Davey Richards? Would you guys like to respond to him saying that you guys have changed in his high spots shoot?
We saw him about a month ago, and he actually came up to us and he gave us the reason why he said that. I don't really remember what the reasoning was, but I thought it was nice of him just to clear it up because we didn't even ask him. Because me and Matt could care less because we're boys with him. I like him, and he's just a type of guy that'll say whatever he wants to say, which is awesome because a lot of wrestlers should be more like that because a lot of us are just hiding feelings inside, and he just says it out loud, and I like him because of that. So whatever he meant about it, I don't know. He told us the reasoning, but it didn't really make sense.
I think he was like kind of like, oh man, I better go clear it up with the Bucks. I think Kevin had a problem with what he said. So, like Nick and I take this like less serious. I think than Kevin, like when he said it, it was kind of on the internet and people were asking us about it. We were just kind of like laughing about it because Davey's being Davey, like who cares? Like Nick said, he probably meant nothing by it. And when he did come up to us and clear it up, I think he said something like, yeah, man, like this business changes all of us, and it's just one of those things, man. Like you guys have been doing this for so long, you guys are just different guys. Like I think it was just like one of those like we're like what? Like what does that even mean? It was just like one of those like strange answers, and I just took it for what it was. It was Davey being Davey, and who cares? Let him be Davey. He's hilarious.
Yeah, we like the guy. We've never had a problem with him.
Nah.
So.
Tom123 asks, it seems this past year there's been less tag teams in ROH compared to a couple of years ago. If you were the bookers, which teams would you bring in to revamp the tag team division? Apart from yourselves, of course.
Yeah, I think us, right?
Man. What do you think, Nick? Right off the bat, the Smash Brothers, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if they'd even fit in with their style, but I mean that's maybe one reason why they would be fun to have them because they're so different. Like I think they'd be really cool to watch.
That's definitely true. Off the top of the head, though, that's really the only team I can think of.
Right. There's not a lot of teams anymore, though, man. Like, and then all these dumb contracts we talk about. It's really hard to make things like that happen nowadays. That's a tough one. It really is. But yeah, off the top of my head, I would say number one team would be the Smash Brothers. Is there anyone else even available? You know what I mean? I can't think of any besides us. There's obviously some awesome teams in Dragon Gate USA, but with the contracts, that would be tough. Man, I don't know. Maybe push the ones you have, or maybe put the Wolves back together and have Adam and Kyle get back together. I mean, the talent's all there. Just let them do their thing, I think that the Wrestle Factor is really good. I think that they're, at first they weren't really comfortable with being like, well, one of them Which one, Nick? Did we say he was he's the older one? I always get their names confused.
I think Caprice is the older one, isn't it?
Caprice Coleman. He's awesome. But when we first wrestled Caprice felt like maybe he didn't belong because he's older, and I didn't think he'd keep up with us. And then we wrestled him a few times. Those guys are incredible. Like, we had some really good matches with them, and it was really fitting to finish our run, helping them out in that tournament. You know, we went up to them afterwards and said, "We think we just had our last match with you guys." They're like, "What?" Like, we just totally kept them in the dark the whole time. But they're really good. I'd really like to see them succeed and do well. The Bravados are really good. I think they're underutilized. You know, especially when they came back from Japan, they just seem more confident and something different about them. You know, you go to Japan, it changes you. Otherwise, I mean, obviously, you got the world's greatest tag team. If they're still together, you should do something with them. I don't know why Nick and I never got to wrestle them. That was one thing that we felt like was a misstep. Like, why didn't you book us against those guys while you had us, you know? But otherwise, I don't know, man. Like, I think I just named every tag team in wrestling right now.
Ken on Facebook says, what organizations should we follow to see you currently, apart from PWG and Shikara? Do you wrestle for anyone on the East Coast?
Yeah, actually, we just started working for FWE, Family Wrestling Entertainment, and we're going to be on there full time. And they're a good company. They run good shows, and the shows that we have been on have been family oriented, and the crowds are big, and it's a fun show. It's a good company on the rise.
Yeah, and I hope Tommy Dreamer is House of Hardcore. I hope they keep running, because their first show a couple weeks back was really cool. They had a ton of people there, and it's just a fun atmosphere. Tommy's got that attitude, like, however long you want to go, and whoever wants to go over tonight, just make your own, you know, like, do whatever you want type of, and it works sometimes, you know, and that night it really did, and, you know, I really hope that he continues to run. And, I mean, as far as being on the Northeast, it feels like we're out there so much. It's always like, maybe like some random indie company or a wrestling convention, so it's really hard to say specifically, like, what companies, but, I mean, between Chikara and FWE and hopefully Tommy's thing, and, you know, we might start working for Gabe again, hopefully. We're working something out with him, possibly for the next few months. I mean, let's hope. I don't know. We're still kind of negotiating. And where else, Nick? Like, of course, as soon as I hang up on this conversation, I'm going to be thinking, oh, God, I should have mentioned those companies, too. I can't think of any of them. But
there's always local ones we always do. There's one that's locally that's really good, and it's the population of it's rising every month. It's called IWL, Insane Wrestling League. That's located, but that's way out here in Southern California. But they have iPay-per-view. You can order it off their website. But they're a pretty good company that runs once a month or so. So that's another good one that we've been on every show. Right. But other than that, you've named them all.
Garden State Saint on our forum asks, what match do you wish you could do over? Strange question.
What match we could do over?
Yeah, as in like redo, perhaps. I think that's what he means.
Redo, huh? Man, that's a hard one. I guess if we would like to redo and relive that moment, it would have to be. It would have to be probably one of the matches we've had at PWG where the crowd just was losing its mind, and right off the bat, I think of when me and Matt wrestled El Generico and Human Tornado. For some reason that night, and the belts weren't even on the line, that night the crowd was just nuts. They were insane, and every false finish they just went for it, and then. And I would like to relive it. I wouldn't do it over, but I would like to relive that moment because the crowd was absolutely.
You know, it's funny the whole idea of redoing matches over, because that happened a lot in TNA where matches were so bad that they'd make them go redo it. We never had to do that, actually. That's like a wrestler's nightmare, by the way. But if we're talking about, like, for quality purposes, like the match sucked and we wish we could just redo it. Like, I don't think I have any of those, because every match has been unique in its own way. And when things go wrong, sometimes it makes the match better. Like, for example, I remember when Nick and I wrestled with Mike Mondo in that 6-man tag against Rhett and Kenny and TJ. We totally blew this this 3-way simultaneous drop kick. It was terrible. It's like the worst thing we've ever done in wrestling. And the crowd started chanting, you effed up. And I thought it was kind of funny, and it added to the match because, like, as everybody chanted "you effed up," Nick and I started like playing the air guitar and acting like we were singing to like "you effed up" with them, and it made it. I just added to the element of the match. Like, like we totally just went with it. Like I kind of think it's funny when there's slip ups, like because I don't think wrestling matches should be too pretty. Like I don't think they should. I think sometimes it's okay if they're a little rough around the edges, and it's a fight. Like if you ever watch a fight, it's never going to be pretty. Someone's going to fall and slip or. It just happens, So I really don't think there's ever been a match that I've been involved in that was an absolute, just nightmare. And oh God, I wish I could just redo this. Like we've been fortunate enough not to have any of those blunders yet.
John, who also is with us at ROHWorld.com, he says he wants to know if you liked working with Vince Russo while you were in TNA.
I didn't mind working with him. I thought he was good, and I think people just blamed him because he honestly had to do all the work himself. Like they literally have like 3 guys at the time we were there. They had like 3 guys writing the whole show week to week. So imagine how stressful that would be on his shoulders because he got the blame all the time. So, but working with him was fine. We never had a problem with him. I liked the guy. He was funny. He was easy to talk to, and I thought he's good for wrestling. I just think he always got the blame for all the bad things that he's done, which I guess it happens in wrestling. So.
Well, there was a lot of bad stuff he did too. Let's be honest. But as far as our actual
blame.
Right, but as far as our actual interactions with him, he was always cool. Like he knew like what type of guys we are. Like we're not the type of guys. We don't want to do something like. That would kind of be dumb, like on TV or anything that would mess with our morals or make us look bad. He's a Christian, we're Christians, and I think a few times they had us written into the show to do some stuff like cussing or something, maybe with Tara, I want to say, that was kind of sexual, and he would always go up to us and say, "Guys, listen, if you don't think this is right, don't do it, or you don't have to do it this way." Like. He was always cool about like confirming things with us before we, he'd make us do it. Like that was cool for us. It was like, man, this guy's really respectful. Like that was really neat. One interaction right off the bat with him was like, as soon as we got signed, we got an email from him. It basically all it said was, actually it was a forwarded email. It wasn't even directly to us from him. It was like I think it was forwarded from Terry Taylor, who was the guy in charge. He was like the head guy at the time. And basically the email from Russo said something like, yeah, tell those kids I want them to kind of look like the Hardy Boys, but not. That was it. We're like, what? Oh, and by the way, tell them, I think it even said P.S. Their new name is Jin Me or something like it was something like ridiculous like that. Like we were like, what? That's it? Like that's all we got? Like so we headed to our first TV with them. That was all the information we had. So like we were like, what do we do? So like that was one thing. Like whenever anybody mentions Vince Russo, I always think of that email. It was literally like two sentences. Like, I want you to look like the Hardys, but not. P.S. You're Jin Me now. I still find that hilarious.
Liger Sword on our forum says, do you guys ever see yourselves in the WWE?
Man, me, I don't. But if the schedule changes and they only want to start running half the shows they do a year, then count me in.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's hard to say. Nick and I are family men. We like being home, and I mean, if we had to go move to Tampa to bump our brains out for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, and then flyer and be the street team and all that's a lot of commitment, man. And I don't even know if I'd have time for that. And for one thing, my wife's got a great job out here in California, and I mean, Nick owns a home, out here. Our family's all out here, our friends, and it'd be tough to have to pack up and move for that. And I don't know if I could do it. Never say never. Like if we were offered something, obviously it's the WWE. You got to entertain it. But I really wouldn't count on it. Like we could actually say, hey, we've worked there because we've done extra work with them, and we've gotten to we've gotten to be on TV and work their guys. So it feels like we didn't really have a run there or anything, but we feel like we've gotten to work with Vince McMahon. Like I actually had Vince McMahon be my agent one time for a segment I had with the Big Show where I wrestled the Big Show in I think it was like a tables match or something, or a last man standing match. And, I got to actually have, work with Vince McMahon, the man, It's like, I feel like I've gotten to do some stuff there. So it's almost like it's checked off my bucket list.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to go there because that's where all the money is, Like if we really want to make the real money here, we got to go there. So I don't know, man. I guess only time will tell.
Macklin on our Facebook page says, what actually happened backstage with the Handshake incident at WWE and Booker T and everything?
Good, Nick.
It was just a big old, huge misunderstanding. I was laying on, or not laying, I was standing by a guardrail which had Booker T's coat on it, hung on it, and I had no clue. But so I was hanging like close by it. Booker T saw it, and he saw me standing by it. So he cut the promo on me, yelling at me because I'm standing near his coat, and he started yelling at me in front of all the boys. And when he did that, his music hit, and he went right to a gorilla position and left. So I had no other time to shake his hand because the whole time I saw him, the whole interaction I had with him was him yelling at me. So why would I shake his hand while he's yelling at me? So that's really what happened.
That's the short summary of it. Like, I mean, Booker's not the only guy we missed. It's a big it's a big arena. People are doing pre-tapes. People are in agents meetings. People are here. People are in catering. It's impossible to get every single person. And Nick and I, we tried to get everybody that was approachable, everybody that seemed like they wanted to meet us, because a lot of those guys are super cool, and they all, a lot of them knew who we were. They'd come up to us, hey, Young Bucks, hey, like it was really cool actually. Like it was humbling because, we didn't know all these big WWE guys knew who we were. Like little old us, it actually felt good. Like the majority of the roster knew who we were. And the day before the whole Booker T thing happened was Raw, and we had a really good tryout where William Regal came up to us and pretty much said, listen, they want to look at you guys, handpick whoever you guys want to work, and come up with a little something, and, we'll have a little match. And they never do that, by the way. Usually they just make you, they have you get in the ring with someone, and they say, you're wrestling this guy, go, like we actually had an opportunity to do something cool. And we had a really, really good match. We always joke about it, and even people there say it was like the greatest tryout match in the history of wrestling. Nick and I are in this situation where we just didn't care. We were like, let's just do our thing, man. Like, this is like our job interview, right? Why would we not do what we're good at, So we planned to hit all of our stuff. Like, I think Nick did a dive. Like, Nick did his crazy comeback with his X Factor, and like we hit more bang for your buck, and like you don't do any of that stuff ever. Like in a WWE tryout, you don't do that. Like you don't leave your feet used typically, you know what I mean? But we did everything, and it was really cool because at the end everybody was on their feet clapping, and we were like, wow, this is awesome, So the second day coming in, we had a big target on our back because I think a lot of people were talking about us, and I think Booker, he obviously read the thing with RVD, and right away, like. Now he's got another thing to hate us for. We're coming in here doing 450s in our tryout match. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you don't do that. So I think he was trying to come up with a reason to just not like us. Then he saw Nick was on his jacket, and I think he saw a perfect situation. And it's unfortunate because those 2 days last summer were so much fun. Everybody back there was so cool, and just that little thing happens, and it makes it sound like we're the biggest jerks, and now we have these reputations because of him. It's really stupid, but Nick and I have tried to stay optimistic and positive about the whole thing, and kind of spun an angle off of it and tried to make a little bit of money doing it. And I don't know, man. Maybe one day we'll be known as just the Young Bucks and not the guys that big league everybody on Handshake. I don't know.
At Marion Buck on Twitter says, what would you have done if you didn't become professional wrestlers?
Man, Nick would probably be in the NBA.
Yeah, I would try to be a basketball player. I'm just not tall enough.
I don't know, man. There's never really been a plan B, which is actually terrible because you just don't do that. And any kid that getting into wrestling now, my first thing I say is make sure you have another option. Go to school or do something. It was always wrestling for me, man. Like I graduated a year early, and Nick went to homeschool just so we could focus on wrestling. And life without it is just a scary thing for me. And I honestly don't know how to answer that. Maybe I would have stuck in with my dad. My dad has his own family business with general contract. He's a general contractor. Maybe I'd be doing that. I don't know. It's scary to even think about not doing this because this is all I know. So.
And our final question is from John. He says, "Who is better at the air guitar?" I don't know why he asked this, but
I think we're equally terrible. I think we're equally bad, and that's what makes it amazing.
Yeah, that's funny. Matt used to play some bass guitar though.
I was awful. I was so rotten. Like, I think. Has there ever really been a good air guitarist though? Like the whole point of it is you look like a moron, and like who's ever said, "Oh my God, that guy's got a." There are competitions. There are competitions.
Yeah, I think there is actually. But I used to be I used to play the drums pretty well, but that's not playing guitar, so it don't count.
I just still don't think anybody's ever said, "Oh my God, that guy is a great air guitarist." You know what I mean? Like, everybody looks.
Hulk Hogan had a great air guitar.
We're all pretending though. Like anyone good at air guitar should just be playing regular guitar. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's something to brag about. Pretending to do so. Well, I mean that's what we do for a living. So we pretend to fight. So who am I to say those professional air guitarists go for it, guys?
Well, on that note, that brings an end to the interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
How can fans sort of interact with you online? Do you have a website or Twitter?
Yeah, I have a Twitter. Go follow me at NickJacksonYB.
I have a Twitter account. It's MattJackson13. I hardly talk about wrestling. I just joke about stupid stuff most of the time. But go to our website, most importantly, theyoungbucks.net. Yeah. If you buy a T-shirt or a photo or something, it goes directly to us. It helps us out. This is what we do. I feed my baby and I put diapers on her by selling those things. So I appreciate that. We also have a Facebook. It's facebook.com/theyoungbucks.